الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. So Islam emphasizes and puts a lot of importance on good character. In general, it puts extreme importance on good character, to the extent where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that a person, because of his good character, just with his good character, he could reach in rank the stage of that person who constantly fasts and does tahajjud. So good character has such a high rank, and that's very important when we deal with people, and specifically non-Muslims. On the other side of the coin, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions a stern warning for a person who, through certain actions, certain bad characteristics they show, they turn people away from Allah. Allah speaks about people who take false oaths. وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ دَخَلًا بَيْنَكُمْ فَتَزِلَّ قَدَمٌ بَعْدَ ثُبُوتِهَا وَتَذُوقُوا السُّوءَ بِمَا صَدَدْتُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. The point of the ayah, not to translate the whole thing, is Allah is speaking about taking false oaths, and then you've turned people away from Allah and Islam, and therefore you taste a painful punishment. So with that said, there's a specific characteristic, there's a specific trait that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a person does not have this trait in him, it's as good as him not having iman. And the same trait, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person in Bukhari and Muslim, a person will go to bed, and this quality, people will go to bed, and this quality will be snatched from their hearts, to the extent that it would be so rare to find a person with this quality, that when somebody finds a person who has this quality in him, he will go around saying, so and so is a person with this quality. It will be so rare, they'd mention it to each other. And this quality is a person being trustworthy and having amana. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that a person who doesn't have an amana, you cannot trust him, he is not trustworthy. It's as good as him not having iman. And that's why in the hadith I said, this quality of being trustworthy would be snatched from the heart. So that the person who is trustworthy, it will actually be said, إِنَّ فِي بَنِي فُلَانًا فُلَانًا أَمِينًا. Actually at this place, there's a specific person. He is a trustworthy person. He is a person we can deal with in business, the context of the hadith. He's a trustworthy person. Hudayfa radiallahu anhu narrating this hadith, he says, I used to just deal with people, giving on loans, taking, and we used to trust each other. He says now, he's saying in his time, now after the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's saying now I buy and sell, but I don't even know who's trustworthy. This aspect of being trustworthy and amana, and when we explained it just now, it is so important in Islam. Listen to the following. The Muslims, on the day when they conquer Mecca and they enter the Kaaba. They want to enter the Kaaba. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is on his camel, and there's a few Sahaba with him. So the Kaaba, it has a door. It was locked. A certain clan, they had the key to the Kaaba. They were custodians of the Kaaba. And the person who had the key at this time, his name was Uthman ibn Talha. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam goes there. He wants to enter the Kaaba. He finds it locked. He gets told the keys are by Uthman. Uthman ibn Talha, what did he do? He locked the Kaaba and he went to hide. The Kaaba at that time, the Kaaba went through stages of how it was built. It was not as high as it is today. So he managed to climb up the Kaaba and he hid there. So the Muslims were looking, where is Uthman? Where is Uthman? Finally, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu finds Uthman. He says to Uthman that we want the keys. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam wants the keys for the Kaaba. Uthman, according to one of the narrations, or some of the narrations that say he hadn't accepted Islam yet, because there's some narrations which indicate differently, but we'll go with this narration. He said to Ali radiallahu anhu that if this man was actually the Rasul of Allah, I'd give him the key. But otherwise, I'm not giving him the key. So the narration says that Ali radiallahu anhu used force and he grappled the key out of Uthman. He went down the Kaaba. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't know this that happened. Ali radiallahu anhu came with the key. They opened the Kaaba. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, having just conquered Mecca, now he wants to enter the Kaaba, to pray in the Kaaba, to remove the pictures they had in the Kaaba, to remove the idols they had in the Kaaba. And at this moment of victory, he enters in the most humble way. He's on his camel, his head is lowered. Some of the narrations say it's almost out of humility, his head is so low, it's almost on the back of the camel. He enters the Kaaba, they remove the idols, he prays 2 rak'ah. And then as he's coming out, Abbas, his uncle, Abbas radiallahu anhu tells him, Ya Rasulullah, we have the honor of during Hajj, we are the people who distribute Zamzam to the Hujjaj. So we have this honor. Why don't you also make us the custodians of the Kaaba in the other manners of looking after the Kaaba, including having the keys? So as he's saying this, Umar radiallahu anhu in one narration says, revelation came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the Kaaba. He says because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was reciting a verse as he was exiting, we had never heard this verse before. So we knew it was new revelation. At that moment, Allah sent down the verse, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتَ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهَا. Allah Azza wa Jal commands you to return the amana to its rightful owners. That was referring to the key. It was not rightfully taken from Uthman ibn Talha. Allah revealed the verse about amana. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told Ali radiallahu anhu, you just grapple the key from Uthman, take the key back to him and apologize. So Ali radiallahu anhu goes back to Uthman ibn Talha, gives him the keys. Uthman and tells him, Uthman, he becomes a Muslim, but Uthman ibn Talha tells him that moments ago you were rough with me, now you flipped completely, you came to me, you're apologizing to me, you're soft with me. Ali radiallahu anhu says, this and this is what happened. And a verse came down regarding us returning the key to you. Uthman ibn Talha says, أشهد بأن محمد رسول الله. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. He accepted Islam at that. Other narrations say that then he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him that this key will be in your family for many generations to come, until a time comes where it is wrongfully snatched from you by a tyrant. But until then, close to Qiyamah, it will be by your family. That's where it is until today. So that is the importance of amana in Islam. And amana refers to many things. It refers to like this, something else that it belongs to somebody that you have, either for safekeeping, either you found it. Return it back to its rightful owner. Return it back to its rightful owner. If you have wealth that you owe somebody, you have a loan, you have a payment you've taken on credit, these things are an amana to you. Make sure you return it back. Don't delay. If you cannot at the moment return it back, make sure the person knows your situation. These things are the haqq of people. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that if a person is trusted with something that is generally termed an amana, something that you keep safe, and then he deceives the person who gives it to him, he denies it, he gets it lost, he does something with it, that is a sign of being a hypocrite. Other aspects of amana, before we end off, is people who are employed in a role to carry out your job, to carry out your authority in a proper manner. That is an amana on you. When you appoint somebody for a job, it's an amana on you to point out people, to appoint people who are apt for this job. Some narrations speak about a person appointing somebody in a high place merely because he's my friend, merely because he's my cousin. There's a hadith that mention a warning for such people, that they should not do that. Other types of an amana, secrets people give us. Secrets people tell us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if a person wants to speak to you about something and he looks around in a way that he wants this to be private, that is an amana. Don't go around spreading what people tell you. Another type of an amana, al-mustashar mu'taman. When somebody seeks advice from you, it's an amana on you that you give him genuine advice. So these things are very important. The way we treat people, the way we deal with people, our transacting with people, our day-to-day interactions with people, they should know that we are trustworthy. They should know they can leave their stuff by us. They can know that what this man will pay me back. They should know that. Why is he like this? Because his religion is what prompts him to do this. So the same way that a person's bad character could be a means of punishment for him because he turned people away from Islam, the opposite could be well true. That a person, because of his good character, caused somebody to Islam, or even on a lesser level, caused somebody's bad perception of Islam to change, that could be your Jannah. That could be your Jannah. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us those people who we call to Islam through our actions, and not those who turn away people because of our tongues and how we interact. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.